Page 126 to 129. But out here, if you stopped to listen, everything prattled. It was a prattling world. Leaves as they tumbled in the breeze, water as it went hopping over the stones, and turned back on itself and hopped again, cicadas that created such a long rattling shrillness, then suddenly cut out, so that you found yourself aware once again of silence. Except that it wasn't silence at all, it was a low, continuous rustling and buzzing and humming, as if each thing's presence was as much the sound it made as its shape, or the way it had, which was all its own, of moving or being still. This old fellow, his mule driver for instance, his Aedeas, what he had to say, his pleasant way of filling the time, was of no importance. It was full of something else. Interest. It was as if you had found yourself peering through the crack in a door. Exciting, Prime found this, imagining himself into a situation he would never have dreamed of acting out, and saw clearly for a moment into the fellow's life. His world. The world of the daughter-in-law, too. That matter of the little cakes, for instance, the ingredients that went into them, and the convenient device the man's son had come up with, out of simple affection, and to make things easier for the girl who was to cook them. It had never occurred to him that the food that came to his table so promptly and in such abundance might have ingredients, that a griddle cake or pikelet might have some previous form as batter, that batter might consist of good buckwheat flour and buttermilk, and that what you experienced as goodness might depend on the thickness of the batter or the lightness of a wrist, or that ingenious arrangements might need to be made before a thing as simple as a mere pikelet could make its entry into the world, or that one of the activities a man might give his attention to and puzzle his wits over was the managing of these arrangements, the putting together in an experimental way of this or that bit of an already existing world to make something new. All that had been none of his concern. It had had no interest for him. Now it did, and he looked at the old fellow who had revealed these things to him with growing respect. He knew things. The life he had come from, and had to some extent brought along with him, was full of activities and facts that, for all that they were common and low, had an appeal. The good colour of the buttermilk, for instance, as it poured out of the crock. He liked what came to his senses when he pictured it. Even more the figure of the young woman as she squatted, her robe drawn up between her knees, but gracefully, modestly, to watch her cakes, flipping them over very deftly so as not to burn her fingers, and, when she did, popping the tips of them quickly into her mouth. All that was very lively and real. He could see it, though he had never seen her. And hadn't he tasted, in the one little cake he had popped into his own mouth, the lightness of the girl's wrist? It had done him good, all that, body and spirit both. He wanted more. To know, for example, whether that girl, the daughter-in-law, was well-favoured or not, and was meagre or on the plump side. How old was she? How did she dress her hair? And the desire to fill out the picture, to see her more clearly, led to something very unaccustomed, indeed, which he did not know how to deal with. The wish to put to the man one or two questions that were in no way necessary, served no purpose at all, in fact, save the scratching of an itch he had discovered to know more about these unnecessary things, and to satisfy himself a new sort of emptiness. Curiosity.